A knowledge of the collision regulations and the need to keep a good lookout are essential as more people take to the water for recreation. Traffic density, visibility, the manoeuvrability and draft of other vessels all have to be considered to avoid accidents like this.
Too high up the weather.
Anybody who's ever watched or taken part in a race knows the importance of everybody knowing the rules, especially when manoeuvring at close quarters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Any action taken must be positive and made in plenty of time. The windward boat has to give way to any sailing boat which is downwind. Conversely, this yacht has right of way over the boat on its windward side. This boat is close hauled on starboard tack. This means it has right of way over any vessel approaching on port. As the stand-on vessel, our boat should maintain its course and speed. As the boat goes about on port tack, so the situation becomes reversed. Now, this boat must give way to any vessel on starboard. The rules tell us that the giveaway vessel shall take early and substantial action to keep well clear. As well as sailing the boat, the crew can help by listening out and watching for possible risk situations. With the spinnaker hoisted, the same basic rules apply. Here the wind is coming from the starboard side, and this yacht has right of way over any boat on port. The rules governing overtaking are basically common sense. The vessel, which is doing the overtaking, is obliged to keep out of the way of the boat in front. When two power-driven vessels, and that includes any sailing boat with its engine working, are in a situation where there's a risk of collision, the vessel which has the other on its starboard side must give way. Our yacht makes a clear change of course and passes astern of the other powered boat. This windsurfer seems to be flying along. It is in fact several knots slower than most commercial ships. It's very easy to underestimate the speed of larger vessels. Shipping should be treated with every consideration. They can be difficult to maneuver, may be restricted by their draft, and trying to work to a timetable. In many areas there are traffic lanes which separate the direction of flow along busy routes. These regulations apply equally to small yachts. If you have to cross, then you're obliged to do so at right angles. All sailing yachts and boats under 20 meters long must not impede the passage of a ship following the traffic lanes.
Just blow now to let them know we're coming.
The sea is one of the few places where amateurs and professionals come together on equal terms. Amid the hurly-burly of Cowsweek, a large commercial ferry is confronted by several thousand yachts. For the man on the bridge, it might seem a daunting, almost terrifying task.
That was just to let the awkward one going the opposite way know that we couldn't get out of his way.
The captain needs to be able to predict what a sailing vessel is likely to do.
Well, I suppose the biggest problem actually coming out of the harbour is the yacht is not giving a proper lookout. Not looking, especially when they're going at slow speeds. They don't look behind them, and quite often they're not aware that you're there. The tick turns right under our bow. these people have got more confidence than I have. Anyone to break down the case like that, and he's right over the top. 5 short and rapid blasts, 5 or more blasts. That means that they must take some action to avoid a collision as well as us. 1 short blast turning to starboard, 2 to port, 3 men to going astern. 1 blast, let them know we're turning to starboard.
Everybody afloat must understand the basic sound signals. That 1 blast warns all vessels in the vicinity that the ferry is turning to starboard. Consider the skill needed to maneuver a ship of this size to avoid the much smaller boats around. Many powered vessels become unmaneuverable if they go too slowly and lose steerage way. Radar can help, but with a picture like this, each dot representing a pleasure boat, who could accurately pick out a potential collision course? This yacht, for example, is not only totally disregarding the problems of the much larger vessel, but actually breaking the local bylaws, the harbour regulations, and the rules of the sea. Approaching powered vessels pass each other port to port. The skill and patience of a ferry skipper cannot be shared by the master of a vessel needing anything up to 40 foot of water to stay afloat, and whose manoeuvrability is greatly reduced by her need to keep within a narrow channel. These massive vessels can take anything up to 4 miles to stop. A large container vessel, constrained by her draft, needs to keep strictly within the channel. The days when steam gave way to sail are long gone, but most professional sailors are remarkably tolerant of amateur yachtsmen. In turn, the yachtsman can help by learning and practicing the collision regulations. Recognizing the navigation light characteristics at night takes practice. They can often be difficult to distinguish from the cabin and deck lights. Sometimes street and car lights from the shore can confuse the picture. Watch the navigation lights on this pilot boat change to reveal the red port-hand light. The light you would see if she were travelling in your direction on your starboard side. Powered vessels over 50 meters long have 2 masthead lights. This is particularly useful in working out the ship's aspect. As this ferry turns to starboard, the masthead lights seem to swap position. At sea, these masthead lights are often easier to pick out and can show both direction of travel and the size of the ship. Hovercraft can move at high speed and over shallow water. Their position is indicated by an amber flashing light. At night, it will supplement the conventional navigation lights of a powered vessel. All vessels at anchor should display a black ball. This is usually rigged on the forestay. In practice on a large commercial ship, it can take an experienced eye to pick these out. Fishing boats have their own special marks. Larger craft must display 2 inverted triangles. In practice, these are often left permanently rigged. If the fishing boat is less than 20 meters long, she often flies a fishing basket in the rigging. When working at sea, lines or nets up to a mile long may be towed astern. This dredger clearly could not get out of the way of oncoming shipping. The black ball over a diamond over a second black ball on the mast indicates that the vessel is restricted in her ability to maneuver. The diamonds on the right indicate the safe side to pass. The 2 black balls show the side obstructed. An important signal when you consider what would happen if a boat passed on the wrong side and became tracked by a large floating pipe. Many different types of specialized craft work along the coastline, involved in everything from pipelines to surveying. Special attention needs to be paid to vessels which are under tow or towing. They're not only difficult to maneuver, but towing lines are often hard to see. No warning signal is used if the tow is under 200 meters like this one. But when more than 200 meters, a black diamond shape is hoisted. Special care is needed at night when the tow line is often impossible to see. Here the barge is only a few meters behind its tug, but in the commercial world of shipping, it's often necessary to move much larger objects such as oil rigs. When something this size is on the move, towing lines of up to a mile in length are used, and often sag below the surface. Some horrifying accidents have occurred when towing lines have not been seen in time. In some situations, more than one tug is needed. There can be several towing lines stretching out in different directions. Large, deep draft ships often have to keep to narrow dredged channels. Their priority is indicated by a black cylinder shape. This ship is also flying Flag H to show she has a pilot on board. Many signals can be learnt by keeping a good lookout when on or near the sea. This flag indicates a pilot boat. It's commonly seen on Trinity House launches. Flag B is often seen on tankers and LPG carrying ships. It warns other vessels that the ship has a dangerous and possibly explosive cargo. Flag A warns shipping of activity below the surface. This may be a commercial diving operation or some of Britain's 100,000 amateur diving enthusiasts. A surfacing diver returning to the mother ship has virtually no horizon, and all craft must keep well clear. These two flags, R over Y, are frequently used as a request to passing vessels to reduce their speed and wash. A barge, being moved by rafting it up to a harbour master's launch, again flies R over Y and requests nearby vessels to slow down as they pass. Statistically, sailing is a remarkably safe sport, but occasionally problems can occur, and when they do, a difficult situation can rapidly compound itself into tragedy. Few of us, hopefully, will ever need the help of the Royal National Lifeboat Institution and rescue services, but how would our crew react